I want you to imagine for me just for a second. Just picture this for me. You suddenly become aware that you're in your car. You're in the middle of nowhere. You have no idea how you got here. You don't know if north, south, east, west, and even if you did, it wouldn't matter because you don't know where you are. There's no landmarks. And again, you just suddenly become aware that this is where you are. You are completely lost. Then you remember and you reach into your pocket, you pull out your phone, you open Google Maps and you type in your home address. And just like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, there's no place like home. You type in home address and instantly like that, you're now on your path. You're heading towards your destination, all is well. So this month for the global themes for CSL, the theme for the month is to pause for guidance. So going within and connecting with that divine, which is within all of us. And this week, we're talking about our GPS, but instead of global positioning system, this is our guidance positioning system. So first off, what is the GPS? It's that still small voice within. Or sometimes that still small voice within is blaring trumpets screaming at you, trying to get your attention. Usually when that's the still small voice that you're hearing, you've probably gotten yourself into some sort of a jam and now it's really trying to get your attention. So normally the thing to do would be to, the first thing we have to do is install that GPS. But like most phones nowadays, it comes already, Google Maps is already programmed in there. And just like that, we're born with this within us. Our guidance system is part of our DNA. It's our nature. So we already have this within us. But now, then instead of installing, what we really need to do is we need to constantly upgrade, update. We have to update our GPS on a regular basis. So how do we do this? Well, two of the ways is through our spiritual practices. We do spiritual mind treatment and we do meditation. So when we practice meditation and we practice observing our thoughts, the more that we do that, we become able to discern between what is that still small voice that's trying to speak to us, that's offering us the guidance. And then we get to differentiate between what is that still small voice and then what is our surface level mind that's kind of, forcing the thoughts through us. It could be the chaotic thoughts. So the more that we're able to quiet ourselves, go within, pause, and connect to that, then we really get a good handle on hearing the voice from our higher self, from the divine, from the infinite, whatever you want to call it, the universe, God, spirit. We learned how to pick up and follow the one that is for us. So that is how we constantly update and upgrade our GPS. Now, just like on Google Maps, in order to use this guidance positioning system, we have to type in our destination. We have to know what our destination is. So I want you to think about, what is it in 5 years from now that we are going to be moving towards? What is it that you would like to experience in your life? Essentially, what is going to bring you more meaning and more purpose in your life? There's so many people that we go through our lives, we follow what kind of the societal script is. We do, we get our high school diploma, we go to college, perhaps, we marry our sweetheart, we have 2.1 children, we get our corporate job for 40 years. And at some point, many people that have been kind of living their life like the person at the beginning who was in their car and just all of a sudden realized they were in the middle of nowhere, no idea how they got there. People at some point wake up and realize that all these things that they were supposed to do doesn't on its own bring us meaning and purpose. That's up to us to create that and to move towards that in our life. So we have to enter our destination into our GPS. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be some huge ambitious thing. It could be whatever it is. It's just important to have that intention. Some people have the intention that their life is a wake up and fly by the seat of their pants every day. That's perfectly all right, whatever it is, but I want us to be intentional about it. I know for myself that when I know where I want to go in 5 years, there's another saying that we underestimate or we overestimate how much we can do in 1 year, but we underestimate how much we can do in 5 years. The idea behind that and how this works is we do get really excited about what we're going to be creating. When we set our intention, we start moving towards it. And a year is not as long as it may seem. And so the key here, in order to transform that 1 year into the 5 years of magic, is to really keep focused on that destination. Keep checking your GPS. So as once we know what it is that we want to move towards in 5 years, if we find ourselves at the end of a year in a place where it seems, that's the point where a lot of people get discouraged and kind of fade back off of it. But that's just that growth. It's like the bamboo underneath the surface. It's growing and growing. So a lot of times at a year is the place where people give up. The key here is to keep focused, keep going on that destination, following your GPS to that place. And that's how then the 5 years, people are amazed at how much can actually shift in that time. Drink of water 1 second. So the key is to wake up every morning. We have our 5-year destination. When you wake up in the morning, we think about what we can accomplish in this 1 month. We break it into smaller bites. And then every morning we check our GPS. We make sure that we've entered that destination, and we ask ourselves, what are we going to do in this one day? And there is magic in this. By setting our destination, we are activating our subconscious mind, our subjective. We're activating the universe, the universal guidance. And we're also activating our reticular activating system. If you're not familiar with that, we should write that down and look it up, the reticular activating system. When we set our intention, truly magic happens. Our mind, our subconscious mind, starts to give us signs. It starts to show us the path. It shows us when somebody is in our area that maybe is supposed to be on part of our path. The little things, and this all happens by intention. If we don't become clear on what it is that we want, then our subconscious mind doesn't know what to pay attention to. So once we have that destination, we have to watch for the little signs that show up. And it's sometimes, they come as inspirations. We're talking about intuition this month. Now, for me, the one thing, and I would recommend this for anybody too, is we have to ask. You have to ask the universe for that guidance. It's an intentional thing. So many people, me included for many years, didn't take the time to become clear and to ask what it is that we want. The universe shows up for us when we reach out and ask for it. So for me, it's through the intuition, but I also have an agreement with the universe and my higher self, little things that help show me and remind me to when I'm hearing that small voice. When I go within, I ask a question. I'm looking for guidance for that GPS. I'm looking for a way, whether it's a challenge that I'm facing, whether it's an idea that I'm trying to create. Once I set that intention, and I do spiritual mind treatment as well to let that intention be known, then as I go on throughout the day and the ideas show up, my reinforcement, the universe, the agreement that I've made is show me triples, show me triple digits, show me the idea 3 times repeating. And that's one of the ways that I know it is coming from that higher place. And it's uncanny how often this happens when I'm, for instance, like on this talk, as I was trying to come up with the ideas, I've been moving all week long. And so my life is kind of like living out of boxes right now. I'm spread all over the place. So I've been working on the talk on the drive. It's about 50 minutes between the house I'm in now and the house that I was in. And inevitably, when I'm working on it and I'm thinking about what ideas, as an idea pops up that resonates with it, it's laughable how my mind, all of a sudden, like whatever I'm doing, my mind, my eyes, my body, I just turn. Something draws my attention and I'm not like scanning everything. It goes right to one thing. And they're like on the side of a truck is an advertisement and their phone number has, 2397777. It's those repeating numbers. And that's an agreement I made with the universe several years ago to show me, to remind me when I am on track. That's how the universe says, whatever you were thinking right now, that's your sign. That's one of the ways that I'm able to pay attention to my guidance positioning system that we have built within. So the idea here too is to practice this constantly. And that's why I was encouraging us to every day wake up in the morning, think about our long-term destination, where we're heading. And just by that thought, by thinking about it, we start our mind working on it. Now, what happens a lot of times, and this is something that's been huge for me in 2021, and with a lot of other people that I talk with on a regular basis, we discuss our spiritual practices, is that quite often I forget to ask, I forget to go within and activate this idea. And so what happens is I finally, that still small voice that had wanted to operate with me, because it's spirit's always wanting to help us out. I get to a place where like now I'm in a jam, the deadline's right now, and I'm panicking. How do I get it fixed? And then I remember, oh, I should go within. I should do some spiritual mind treatment and get some help here. That's called the foxhole prayer. When we get ourselves in such a jam that we end up saying, get me out of this. And usually at this point, this is when like God has now become that little gray-haired bearded man up in the sky again, that we know it's not that. But when we're in our foxhole prayers, quite often that's what it's like. Just get me out of this fix and I will do whatever you ask of me. I'm going to quit every bad habit I've ever had right now if you pull me out of this. So the foxhole prayer, once we get to that point and we're looking to use our GPS, looking for the answers that spirit is ready to give to us, if we've already gotten to that place where we are deep in it, then our mind is chaotic and frenzied. It's all surface level. It's going to be more difficult to pick up to that still small voice within as we're scattered all over that. So that's the idea of why we want to do it every single day. Practice it with the seemingly mundane things. And it's just like meditation, as we practice and observe our thoughts and to learn how to differentiate between our deeper thoughts and then just our monkey mind thoughts that are just spitting out garbage to us. It's that same way when we start to set our intention in the morning, follow our guidance, as we do it with the mundane things. This is also kind of why when we start learning how to manifest things, it usually begins with parking places or a cup of coffee. We experiment with the small things, and that it helps us to develop our practice and our powers. And so then when we get to that place where we are in the foxhole situation, we're more trained and better able to calm ourselves and go within and hear that guidance. And even more importantly, if we just remember to start off every day from that place, we usually don't end up in that foxhole situation because we've been living intentionally up until that point. And again and again, it's almost comical with the people that I'm talking about. I'm part of a group called Soul Evolution Collaborative, and we are constantly in meetings and talking. And it's laughable when we find, one of us finds ourselves like, I was trapped, I didn't know what to do. And then I remembered, like, we got to pray. And it's always the same thing as we're texting, like, why don't we do that to begin with? You got to remember to do that before we even start. That should always be the thing, is consulting our GPS. It's such a habit and such a way to go. And a really cool thing that I like about meditation and practice is that it is an accumulative effect. So every single time, even if you pause and go within for 30 seconds, you're filling up that bucket, you're developing that muscle, and it never goes away. Unlike when we go to the gym and we exercise, we get in peak shape. If we stop going to the gym, we slowly revert and deteriorate back into an unfit form. Whereas meditation, it's that neural pathways that we are forming, like the roads in our brain. So as we practice that over and over, and then if you get sidetracked and you forget for 3 months, 6 months, your practice, it's amazing how all you have to do is set that intention to go back within. And it's just like riding the bike. You're right back into that place just through your intention of dropping in. So it's a really powerful thing to remind ourselves, and also powerful to remind ourselves to go easy on ourselves. Every single bit of spiritual practice that we do, it is all adding to our awareness and our understanding and use of that thing that is already perfect. Like our consciousness itself doesn't evolve. Consciousness itself is already perfect, exactly how it is. What does evolve is our use of it and our practice, and the more we get into it. And that's really where we have so much of our power. Now, the way that this intuition works, I'm going to use the example, say that your 5-year destination is to experience more financial abundance. So we're thinking, you program that into your GPS, your guidance system, and it's not going to direct you on a map directly to that pot of gold that's at the base of the rainbow, or to the winning lottery ticket. I mean, the winning lottery ticket may happen, but there's not that many winners for a year. There's enough abundance in this universe for everybody that has this intention to experience it. So the way it works is it whispers to us that idea. Maybe it's a startup of a service business or a side gig. Maybe it's an idea for a product that the world needs, and it's your efforts to bring it into the world. It's going to give you the ways to achieve that goal of what it is that you're moving towards. One thing too, if you don't know what that 5-year thing is, that's perfectly okay. Because once you become aware of it, then your 5-year thing can be as simple as discovering what my 5-year thing is and putting your intention towards it, seeing what's going to bring that meaning and purpose to you. So the universe whispers those things to us. It brings us that idea. Now, a lot of times, what I hear about and even experienced with my spouse on a couple of times, my spouse is wonderful and very tuned in, has had ideas that came to her and said, this would be a really good idea. This is something we should do. And we say that we should do that. And then we go to our job and do our daily stuff. And at the end of the day, well, maybe we'll work on it tomorrow. And then inevitably 6 months later, you open up Bed Bath & Beyond catalog, and there's the idea right there. Somebody else already got her idea. They put it in, and I missed my shot. That was the universe trying to give me this thing that was going to bring this financial abundance that was part of our destination, and I missed it. But just like GPS, when we miss our turn, it's not a big deal. GPS reroutes us. It finds us another way. And the universe is exactly the same. There's infinite, abundant ideas. And if you miss one, it's perfectly okay. Keep focused on your destination. The universe is going to reroute you. And in the same way, that path sometimes changes. New roads are always being built. Sometimes there might be an accident on the road a ways up, and your GPS, again, is going to find you. What's the shortest way to get you there? So we always paying attention to that guidance and never getting discouraged, never beating ourselves up, because really, in the long run, the destination is great, but that's not why we're here in this physical world. We are here to experience and enjoy that journey leading towards that. So enjoy the ride. Enjoy it when you have reroutes and get shifted off. We spend so much time beating up ourselves looking towards that destination. It's going to be so great when I get there, that we miss all the little miracles and little steps along the way. When we tune into that GPS, it is truly, it's a wonderful feeling. That place inside where you're able to receive guidance from the infinite and know that you are connecting to that something bigger. To me, that is that place of home. When I go within and I drop, just like that, just dropping in, taking a breath and remembering, that is home for me. It took me many, many years to realize that. Starting at an early age, I always kind of felt like I wasn't supposed to be here. Whenever I would end up in a challenging situation, whenever I'd get myself in trouble, my default thinking starting at like 8 years old, was to always go to that place of just wanting to be away, feeling like home is somewhere else. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. And it wasn't until I developed my spiritual practice through Science of Mind that I realized that home, that other place that I felt like was always out there, it's not. It's always been right here within us. So from the time that we're born, our bodies change. We go from toddler, or from baby to toddler to adolescence. We're not the same body ever from 1 second to the next. Our mind is constantly changing. Every experience we have, everything we learn, every growth, every opinion we change, or taste that changes, all that, our mind is not the same. It is a new mind, microsecond to microsecond. But what has always been the same is that presence within us that's behind it all, just here to witness it. That is the divine within us. So as we learn and remind ourselves to pause, to go within and connect with that, that is home. That is our home that we are always part of. I was talking about moving right now. So for those of you that were there when I was there in Connecticut, you remember I moved in, it was going to be 2 years and ended up being 1 year when my sister-in-law had moved to Orlando and gotten pregnant. So that was a shorter trip. So we moved to Orlando. We did that for 2 years. And then we moved to Naples for a year. And then now we just moved to Fort Myers. And this is going to be it. Like for 10 years, we're going to wait till our kids get out of high school now. But all these moves throughout it. And thank goodness for this teaching, because that's what has always, it has brought to me a realization that I didn't have 11 years ago, 12 years ago, before I really started formally studying and practicing this, that no matter where I am, home is right here within me. It's there in the eyes of my children. It's there in the eyes of my partner, that our divine is always there within us. We just have to stop and look and go within and connect to that. So there was one reading that I wanted to pull from the Science of Mind today. And it's 2 paragraphs. It's on page 358. And this is from Finding the Christ. So it begins. It's the 4th paragraph down. We comprehend that the infinite only to the degree that it expresses itself through us, becoming to us that which we believe it to be. So we daily practice in our meditations the realization of life. Infinite, indwelling spirit within me, Almighty God within me, real substance within me, that which is truth within me. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. And then Ernest goes on to say how true this is. We cannot come into the Father which art in heaven except through our own nature. Right here, through our own nature, is the gateway and the path which leads to illumination, to realization, to inspiration, to the intuitive perception of everything. The highest faculty in the human being is intuition, and it comes to a point sometimes where, with no process of reasoning at all, they instantly know. So when we know that, and when we remember to go within, we tap our heels together and we just say, there is no place like home. There's no place like home. And that is how we connect into our GPS. Thank you.